G'day, fellas, and welcome to Manor Lords. Manor Lords is a medieval city building game where you start from nothing and make your way up to build an empire. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to have a little bit of early access. So huge shout out to the developers here. They have given me early access to Manor Lords and all of its beauty. We're going to dive in and take a look at this game. We're going to explain it. We're going to understand it. And we're going to prepare because this game is going to be available in 2 weeks' time. Set your clocks. Set your alarms if you're that kind of guy. For me, I'm more of a schedule kind of guy. Let's talk a little bit about this game because not only are you building cities, you are also raising them. That is correct. Have a look at this. We've got ourselves just a little bit of an army. Down the back, I've got my archers. Hey guys, how you doing? Nice little uniforms you got there. Not really. Then we've got our swordsmen. We've got a couple of guys over here, which are a little bit more specialized. They've got hammers, daggers. And then the group at the front, which is probably the group that I'd belong to. These are the guys that you meet down at the bar and you ask them, hey, would you mind sorting out a problem for me? Have a look at this. We've got a ragtag group of mercenaries right here, and they're going to help us. They're going to take back what was once ours. Land that we lost from an illegitimate baron in the north. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Manor Lords. Let's get into it. We're going to start by just getting out of this camera mode. You can see that we've got the ability to just enjoy the beautiful surroundings here. We're going to dive on out of there. There you go. And we're going to go start a brand new game in Manor Lords. Let's go do it. So Manor Lords is a city building game. It's based in the medieval time period. I'm going to be playing with my special coat of arms. That is correct. The Order of the Snail. Now, when it comes to your portrait, I don't know if this actually affects anything in the game. But I've been enjoying playing as the gentleman with the mustache because naturally I've got a little bit of a beard myself and, well, I figured I'd do the same thing. Moving forward, you've got a number of different templates that you can look to play with. You can play on different modes and you can play at different levels. So here is an example. All we're looking to do is just build a cool town. In the second one, we're looking to restore the peace. That means that instead of just building a cool town, we're also going to build a cool town and conquer every region. And then finally, the last, on the edge, not only are we going to conquer every region, but we're also going to survive all the attacks and also reach the large town settlement level. On top of that, there are different, so these are our different sort of scenarios, and then you've got different levels of difficulty. So you can say, I want to do this one, but I want it to be easier. So you can do a relaxing difficulty, you can do it the default, or you can do the challenging. For me, the challenging, I'm going to be honest with you, it is a little bit challenging. So I'm just going to keep it to the default, but we are indeed going to be hitting on the edge. We're going to be going for it. So we're going to grow our city and raise forces as quickly as we can. The lands are pestered by raiders and undefended settlements will quickly perish. So let's dive in and take a look at Manor Lords. So once again, huge shout out to the developers and publishers for Manor Lords. They have sent me out this early access copy. Keep in mind this, while this is representative of the final product, there may be some changes because I'm playing on early access 0.7, so I suspect it's probably going to be 1.0 that we play on. Anyway, let's get to it because we've got a brand new message and we need to find out a little bit more about what's going on. Victory condition growth. Where others see trouble, you see potential. These lands shall become rich and prosperous under your skillful management. Reach the large town settlement level to achieve victory. All right, so we're going to hit that button. We're going to talk a little bit about what is going on in this game. Now, first and foremost, I just want to say the controls are very intuitive. If you've ever played any city builder like Anno, Banished, the good ones, right? I'm not going to... Well, I mean, City Skylines you could probably throw in there. I was thinking SimCity for a second. I was like, that's not really one of the good ones, is it? I mean, the old SimCities were pretty good. Do you guys remember that? The SimCity... Remember the... what was it? SimCity... Was it SimCity 4? I can't remember, man. There was this one that was like online only. It was so terrible. Oh, that was terrible. And you could only build like about here to here to here to here. That was it. Anyway, let's talk a little bit more about Manor Lords. So when you spawn into Manor Lords, you're going to be spawning in a specific region. Now, these regions have all got weird names. I think we're somewhere in Germany or in Old England, one of the two, but I have difficulty with this. So what I actually do is I rename these regions to something closer. So for me, I'm from Australia, so naturally I want to rename this to something that is representative of Australia. So I'm going to call this South Australia. So I'm just going to dive in here. I'm just going to change the name. That way I know that whenever this is being referenced, I actually know where that is. Yes, enter. Thank you. Wonderful. So we've got South Australia. I've renamed it now. And we can take a look at our spawn and exactly what we've got. We've got different resource nodes available to us. We've got clay, we have got stone, we have got iron, we have got wild animals, also known as deer, venison, and we've got berries. Those are our natural resources, and some of them have got little crowns, which indicates that they are rich, which is something that we can all aspire to be, like this little clay guy right here. So it depends on the spawn that you've got as to whether you'll have a rich deposit on berries or a rich deposit on deer. For us, we didn't roll either of those. We instead got two of the mining deposits, which is absolutely fine for us. There's a whole bunch of other elements up here on the UI at the top of your screen that you may be familiar with, but I'm going to go through and explain them as we play. Let's start off and begin to make our first moves, though, here, because you know, time is ticking. Well, technically, time is not ticking. We've got it paused. But let's start time ticking. Let's get everybody moving and grooving, because we've got a pretty cool group of settlers. We've got 5 families down here, and they want to get a move on. They want to start off brand new in a new life. So, of course, the first thing we're going to do is not make them houses. No, they've got tents that they can live in, even though technically it's homeless people's tents. They're homeless for the moment, but we'll sort them out. So what are we going to do? We're going to get ourselves a little bit of food, I think is a good thing to start with, but also a good thing to start with is going to be our logging camp. And this is because we need logs to make houses, other buildings as well. So the sooner we get a start on that, the sooner we are going to be getting a roll on for the rest of our production, our buildings. But hold on, we've got a new message. What does it say? Raiders near. We've received reports of a band of raiders roaming the nearby lands. Should we track their steps? Let's track their movements. In 365 days, not in our time, but in game time, because otherwise that'd be a little bit crazy, we're going to be attacked by raiders. And we need to prepare for that attack. Whenever that attack comes, we need to make sure that we've got the appropriate weapons. As you can see at the moment, we are not carrying the appropriate weapons. I mean, shovels are relatively decent, but you're probably looking at about a 3 out of 10 on the danger scale. I'm thinking maybe something like a sword could be a little bit more suitable. So now that we're going to be working on our logging camp and getting that up, we're also going to need a source of food. Now, we do have a pretty decent stockpile of food. We've got a lot of bread. The problem is our bread's sitting out in the open. So one of the mechanics that happens in this game is that it rains. And when things rain on bread, or when it rains on bread, just naturally, typically, it's not the best thing for the bread. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build some storage for this bread. I'm also going to build some storage here for the rest of the resources, because it's not just bread that we've got. We've also got firewood, stone, and tools. And ideally, we want to keep our firewood nice and cool, because if it gets nice and dry, because if it does get cool, there's a good chance we won't be able to use it. So we'll have to throw some of it out. So let us do those things. So we're going to go down here at the bottom. We're going to hit on logistics, and we're going to go over to our storehouse, and we're going to build this around this area. I think we can throw it down right there. Perfect. And we'll also go and put down a granary. Now, the granary I'm going to put over near the food sources, because naturally, if you've got 2 food sources over here, then surely you're going to be bringing in a lot of food over on that area. So it naturally makes sense for us to throw that down. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to bring out a road. Now, I just want to talk about the roads, because the roads are just so damn intuitive. I love this, and I use this word a lot when I'm playing this game. It is so fun playing this game, because, you know, coming from a Banished City Skylines background, I love grids. I love making grids. And one of the great things about Manor Lords is you don't have to make grids. You can make grids if you want to, but it's just so nice having these beautiful tools that allow you to craft the most absurd, curvy roads. Have a look at this right here. We can get ourselves a real curvy road going right now. And, we can start planning out exactly where we're going to have our families. Unfortunately, we've got these are a bit weird spawns. We've got this beautiful open area, which would be lovely to settle down and grow our families. But unfortunately, it's right in the middle of it. So we might have to think about perhaps moving down into the valley upon the King's Road. Now, the King's Road is a very special road. It's a road that you cannot remove. So unfortunately, we're going to have to live with this road right here, but there's no reason why we can't live on that road. So I think that's what we might look to do in this game. Maybe we can throw a couple of houses along here, and then we can just settle on the King's Road. Why not? But we can think a little bit more about houses later, because we have got logs to cut down. Now, at the moment, we've got 2 timber in the bank. You can see that here. So we've got our construction materials at the top. You can see we've got differently categorized materials, construction materials, food, fuel, which is your firewood and your charcoal. Lots of different categories, but this is grouping everything together. So we've only got 2 timber though. And for us to build a house, or in this case, it's not called a house, it is called a burgage. For us to build a burgage, we're going to need 2 logs. or two lumber. No, 2 timber. So we're definitely a little bit short on that one. So we're going to make our way towards that. And what we're going to do while we do that is we're going to speed it up just a little bit. And as you can see, we've also got our storage online, or our storehouse online. So I'm going to put 1 person inside that. I'm also going to put a person inside our logging camp if I haven't already. There we go. We've already done it. And we're going to continue watching as towards this top side, we do slowly throw down this granary. Now, on top of that, we're also going to need some resources. Now, we've got berries. We've also got wild animals or deer that are nearby. So it's up to me which one we could take. And I'm kind of feeling we're going to take the berries. I like taking the berries. I'm a berry kind of guy. I'm a berry kind of guy. So what do we have? We have got ourselves a gathering, and then we're going to go into berries. Now, we want to make sure that we don't get it too close. Another thing you want to avoid doing is you want to avoid chopping down any trees that are within that zone of influence, or that zone of the berry deposit. So even there, I feel like I'm a little bit too close, but we've already put it down, so we might as well just leave it. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're just going to run this road straight over to our granary, because we're going to be doing that loop a lot. It is going to be happening. Now, another thing that's really, really important that you'll need to be doing is putting down a communal marketplace. This is a place where essentially your settlers or your families are going to be able to put their resources in and share with all of the other families. So that's something that we're going to be looking to do here. But before we do that, I think we probably need to plan this out a little more. Now, we've got these natural resources up here, but we can still definitely settle all of the land before that. I think that's 100% reasonable. So we need to think about whether we want to go for like a CBD, a central business district, and I definitely think that might be the right call. So I'm going to go and put something, I'm going to try and do something a little bit, you know, we don't want to go right across the CBD. Let's go with that. Bit of an ugly road, but guess what? That's the beauty of playing in Manor Lords, is you can choose if you want to go for ugly, or you can choose if you want to go for beautiful, depending on how curvy you'd like it. So you can get very geometric in there. But what we're going to do is we're going to put down a market, and this is where our stalls are going to be. So I'm going to jump into residential. I'm going to hit this marketplace button, and I reckon we might make it a decent size. This has got 38 stalls in it. You might think 38 stalls, that's a lot of stalls. Well, it's a lot of stalls, but they'll fill up pretty quick. Give that an hour or two, and there's going to be plenty of people looking to sell their wares. So we are slowly but steadily moving our resources in. You can see that our supplies, we've only got bread inside here. And once this granary comes up, we're going to be absolutely good to move that bread across. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the high priority on it. I can actually go all the way up to highest. Not that it changes between high, very high, and highest, because there's no other priorities here at the moment other than the forager hut, which is just on medium. But that's going to tell all of my families to focus on this. Well, at least all the families that don't already have a job. You'll see in the top corner of our screen, we've got a 3 next to unassigned and a 2 next to assigned. So once a family is assigned to a specific role, then they're just going to be sticking to that role, well, with the exception of maybe looking after the garden at home. But at this stage of the game, nobody's got a garden at home, and because of that, it just means they're going to be focusing on their role. So we're about to have that granary come up, and the moment that we do, we're going to be making sure that we grab... Excuse me. Where do you guys think you're going? The priority over here is medium. Oh, were you just waiting for this the one lady over here? Wait, what's going on? Hey, you can't be leaving my granary at 99%. Oi! The forager hut was at me. Don't do me like this. The forager hut was at medium, and they're like, yeah, we're going to have to sort that one out first before the granary. I think what happened is it probably, like, the AI was just like, hey, this one guy named Thomas really, really needs to get his, like, hammer onto this so he can say that he has contributed to making the granary. Otherwise, you just know that his wife... Who is your wife, Thomas? You're a forager? Okay, let's have a look and see. Okay, so... Thomas is a forager, so I think this is his wife here, Ott. No, that's his son. Thomas, do you not have a wife? Well, this is your home, but I mean, this is everybody's home. Okay, Thomas, I'm going to let you off for now, but I'm expecting better things in the future from you, all right, buddy? So we've got four families that are working. We've got one family that isn't working at the moment, and they're going to be building everything for us. We don't have to do it that way, but that's the way I'm going to do it, and we're going to start off by building some houses. So we've got 9 timber at the moment. We're one short of being able to build 5 houses, which is 5 houses for everybody, but we don't actually have to do it that way. What we're going to do, we're going to do it a little bit differently here. So where are we going to put these houses? Maybe we could even look to put these houses. Let's do something a little bit funky. Let's go like this. Not that I'm a fan of this, but it's funky. And we'll go with like that. Okay? And we don't have the resources to build all of these houses right now, but that's okay, because we're going to reduce the number down. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses. Now I'm going to make 5 houses like that. The only problem is I'm going to have to wait for this timber to come in, so I'm going to speed it up because I want to build all these houses together. There we go. We've got it. Boom. There you go. Headshot. So now at this stage, you've got a couple of options, because in the early game, one of the important things to remember is that you want to be flexible with your families. You want to make sure that they're always moving about and always doing little different things. So here, as an example, our storage house or our storehouse person, they've picked up all their supplies. They're not really doing anything other than looking after their market stall. They've actually got one over here at the moment, which is going to be for the firewood. But you want to know something? We can just unassign him, and that firewood store will stay here. Unfortunately, there's no firewood in there, but we can just unassign him, and we can also do the same thing for the granary. We just want to make sure that all the bread is gone. Doesn't look like it is. There's still 5 bread out here, so we're going to have to keep that one on for the moment. But we still want to keep chopping down trees. I think chopping trees is going to be very important here. We want to continue gathering up food as well. So we're going to leave our forager just foraging for the moment. And we're slowly but steadily going to work on our burgage plot. So the burgage plot is going to allow us to house a single family inside. So by building 5 burgage plots, we're going to be able to get everybody up to speed here. But when we've built our burgage plots, we've actually taken advantage of a special mechanic within the game. So typically, historically, the burgage plot was a very narrow piece of land. So it looked something like this. As an example, it would go very deep back like that, and you would have a very long garden at the back. I mean, there were a lot of things that were going on out there, but that's essentially what it looked like. And our burgage plots don't really look like that. But one of the things that we have done with our burgage plot is we've made it a little bit wider. We've gone for a bit of a thick boy. And the reason why we've done that is because it allows us, you can see this right here, this indicates that we're able to put an expansion house on here. So think of like a granny flat. That's what we call it in Australia, a house out the back. It's the exact same thing here. And it doesn't really do much early on in the game, but later on, it comes in very handy because that means an additional family is going to be able to live here. So we can double the maximum family count for this plot right now, but those are resources that we probably don't want to expend at this stage on this, because one of the key things that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get 5 burgage plots down. And even if we've got 3 down and we've got 2 extra families living in both of these respective plots, that doesn't count towards that total. So we want to make sure that everybody has got their own burgage plot at this stage of the game. So slowly and steadily, they come up. We're going to speed it up to ×3. I mean, I say ×3. It's 3 little arrows, but it's actually 12x speed. We've got some beautiful frames as well. Can I just remark on how beautiful this game is? I don't think I've done that yet. Have I said how beautiful this game is? They've just absolutely nailed it. It reminds me a lot of my home city, Canberra. Just the way that I always remember from Canberra, looking towards the mountains and being able to tell which ones were further away than the ones that were closer, just because of the amount of fog that was between them, or the color difference between them. And it's the exact same thing right here. You can see how they've got those layers upon layers of beautiful. You know, just that. Oh, man, it's gorgeous. There's got to be a term for that. Anyway, we're going to continue going at 12x speed. I'll be honest, there's some times when I'm playing this game and I feel like 12x speed is not enough. I wish there was like a 100x speed, but I know it would probably just break the computer. So that's always something that I'm thinking about. I'm like, oh, please, please, please. It does look like our bread has now been eaten up. So what we can do is we can take that family out of the granary and just unassign them, and that's going to help build our last burgage plots, because we've still got 2 more that are coming up here. Now, once those burgage plots are complete, we're going to need to think about what we do after that, because there's going to be other resources that we need. So one of the big things is going to be a source of firewood or fuel. So what I'm going to be doing is looking to gather up a woodcutter's lodge. So we'll go and we'll put that down. Now, we're going to put that close by. We're not going to put it exactly right next to our woodcutter. We've got the woodcutter's lodge, and then we've got the logging camp. So those are 2 different things. So this one will come down afterwards. So slowly and steadily, we are building up. You can see we've got our first log that's been transported. It's going to have to come in all the way from the logging camp. And slowly and steadily, he's going to be working through this forest. But there is an area of effect that these loggers will work. However, let's say I wanted to go a little bit further out. I could just go over to the Advanced tab. I could click this button right here to limit my work area. Press Control on my keyboard and scroll out. That's going to give me this beautiful circle, and I can choose where I want them to gather from. So I could say, if I hypothetically, I could say, you know, come gather from over here. But I'm not going to do that because I'm a nice guy, and we do need to keep our berries. Because if there's deforestation around the berries or around the deer, they will migrate. I mean, the berries won't migrate. They'll just die. Yes, it'd be nice to think that they would migrate, but no, they don't quite have that level. But speaking of level, hello, we've just increased our settlement level. We are now at the next level. Let's take a look and see exactly what that means. So we've gone from I think it starts off, you start off very small, but we're now technically a small village. And with that, we now have our forecast or our next settlement level goal, which is to become a medium village. So we've built 5 burgage plots. That was the goal. Now we need to get 2 level 2 burgage plots. So we also have a new message. Let's take a look and see what it says. Armament delivery. A strong militia is paramount to the survival of any settlement. Luckily, a shipment of weapons has just arrived and you will be able to create your first military banners to serve you and protect your people. However, we will need more weapons to equip all the people as the settlement grows, either by making them or importing them from other lands. Let's form the militia. All right, so the militia is going to allow us to defend against bandits, against any kind of raid, without actually having an army, or without having to hire mercenaries. The militia is made up of men from the village, and these men are the same men that will be, you know, doing jobs around here. So if you form a militia and they go into battle and you lose half of them, you're going to bring them all home, or you're going to bring half of them home, and the town's going to have difficulty with employment. You know, I feel bad for Martha and Todd. Was it Todd and Thomas? It was Thomas, and his son's name is Ott. I'll be honest, Thomas. That's probably not. That wouldn't be in my top 3 names for my next son. I'll say that much. But anyway, that's where we're at now. On top of that, not only have we gained a level, but we've also got ourselves a little bit of a point. Yes, that is correct. We have got ourselves a point, a development point. Very, very special. So within the development tree, you have lots of different technologies. Now, keep in mind, you don't have access to all those technologies just because in early access, they are still technically locked. So we'll be able to see what they all are. But the way I like to think about this is you want to go off your strengths. So if we pause the game right now and go take a look at some of the other regions. So we're down here in South Australia, but just to this, where's a good example? Here's a good example here in Waldbrand. We've got berries. And not only have we got berries, we've got rich berries, which means that they are double the amount of my berries. So here you've got 128 out of 128. And my berries, 64 out of 60, or 60 out of 64. Now, why am I talking about that? I'm talking about that because if we take a look at the development points, there is a development point that doubles the capacity of all berry deposits. So naturally, if you've already got double, that goes from 64 to 128. But over there, in the beautiful lands of Waldgrad, what was it called? Something silly, something German sounding. You've got 256 berries. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make is we want to play to our strengths. And when it comes to our strengths at the moment, we can't really bring either of them online. These guys are going to take a while to come online. So we've got other options to explore here. We could look at, say, investing into trade. Though I probably wouldn't go down that route just yet, because once again, this is still quite early. We could eventually look at picking up deep mining, which is a technology that allows us to have infinite amounts of resources. On top of that, we also could look at going into rye. So rye is a crop that is similar to wheat because it can be processed into flour. However, it's more resilient, and therefore it can be grown in places with lower fertility. Now, fertility is a word that we haven't really mentioned yet, which is normally a good thing for a city building game. You know, you're not here talking to your gynecologist obstetrician. You're here talking to me. Well, you're not really talking. I mean, you can be talking. Leave a comment if you want to talk. Make sure you leave a like as well, because it really helps out the traction of the video. But let's talk a little bit about what that means. If I go down into construction and I click down here under farming, I've got access to a field. And when I hit that field, it's going to pull up some weird looking colors. And these colors are going to tell me whether farming here is a good idea. Well, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is not a good idea to farm right here. This is a terrible, terrible place to farm. If you were to put down a farm right here and you said, I want to farm Emma, which is wheat, things would not go well for you. However, if you wanted to put down a farm over here, it would be a different story. This is 2 pluses, which is 1 plus away from the best possible pluses you can get. That's these guys over here, the 3 pluses. The only problem is these 3 pluses. These are in the lands of the German Wargedogantong, which is too far away for us. But what about flax? We could look to grow flax. Nope, can't grow flax. What about barley? We could grow barley. Nope, can't grow barley. How about rye? Oh, look at that. You can actually grow rye here. And that gives you an indication of where you can spend those points. Because all of a sudden, maybe your people are getting a little bit hungry. Maybe they want some bread. And maybe you don't want to import all of your wheat from Würgendorga. Maybe you want to grow your own wheat here. Well, you can't. But you can grow rye, which your people will accept as... Oh, now I think about it, rye bread. Ugh, yuck. I feel sorry for my people. Hey guys, I'm sorry. It's the best we've got. We can't import any wheat. We refuse to support them over the border. But with that being said, I mean, you can probably still look to do wheat here, but you get the point. So what we're going to do, we're going to invest down this tree. We're going to say, all right, I'm going to pick up orchardry, even though I'm not going to be growing any apples at the moment, just because that's still probably quite a while off. I can definitely think about investing into rye very, very shortly. So let's definitely head down that route in preparation for moving into rye. Other options included, we could have gone into trapping, which gives us a passive income of meat. We've already talked about forest management, but we could also go into beekeeping, which gives us access to the apiary, and that would give us another source of food. But we don't really need other sources of food at the moment. Mainly, all we need to do is just collect our berries, collect our meat or our venison, and we'll be happy little campers. So let's keep moving on here as we make our way towards level 2. Now, to get to level 2, I'm going to need 2 burgage plots that are at level 2, and that's going to give me access to level 2. I'm also going to want more people in this city. So to get more people, I've got a number of ways to do that. The first one that I could do is I could add more burgage plots. That would definitely be a possibility. Or I could also look to just hit this little button here, which is going to expand the living space. And that's going to utilize the existing tenants, or technically they are tenants because it is a burgage plot, and that's going to double them. Well, it's going to double their living space. And slowly but steadily, as our approval rating increases, we are going to have more people that join us, more people that migrate. And you might see some families forming where, you know, sons like Ott. Where is he? There he is, Ott. What are you up to, Ott? Ott, what are you doing here, Ott? Ott, you should be at school. You're too young, son. Gosh, look at him. He's really quite...
Freshly baked. It's still warm from the oven.
I don't believe you. Show me where the oven is, Ott. I don't believe it for a second. You don't have any ovens? You want to know why you don't have any ovens? Because I haven't made you any ovens, Ott. Oh, can you believe this guy? Let's make him an oven. No, we're not making him an oven. We don't have the means to support your oven addiction, Ott. But keep it going. Now, you'll see at the top that one of my resources has gone red, and that indicates that fuel, we've only got 2 months supply of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over here where we've got the fire burning to the woodcutter's lodge, and I'm going to allocate 1 person in there to start collecting some firewood. And that's going to allow us to hopefully keep warm as the winter is coming. We're in May at the moment. Well, technically, winter isn't coming for a while. In fact, we just quite literally got out of winter. We're still technically in spring. But winter is technically coming. It's always coming. It's like tomorrow. But it will arrive, though. That's the one difference. So we're going to need to get level 2 burgage plots. How the heck are we going to do that? Well, once we've finished upgrading them, what we're going to take a look at is... Let's go a little bit faster than that. Who's the furthest along here? You're the furthest along here. So we're going to take a look at this burgage plot, and we are going to plot ourselves a theory as to how we level up to the next level for the burgage plots. I already know how it is, I'll be honest with you. I've spent more than 30 hours playing this game. I don't know if it's 30 hours yet. I think it's like 20 to 30 hours, so somewhere in that region. I know what I'm doing. You're in good hands. But for those of you who don't, well, let's just keep on keeping on. What's going on here? You know what's going on here? This guy. Does this even work? Hold on. You were the first one? You were the last one clicked, rather. You were the chosen one. What happened? All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, this is our burgage plot level 1, and I want to get it to level 2. How are we going to do that? Well, we click on the burgage plot, and we take a look at the requirements. We need amenities, and we need market supply. That means that we need access to water, because at the moment, all of our families, they don't have access to water. So that means that Jacob, or Jakob, and Christina and Hans, they're thirsty. They are very thirsty. So we need to get them some water. Number 2, we need to get them some religion, because religion is good. It keeps you happy, it keeps you hoping, and it keeps you chanting, all that good stuff. So we're going to get ourselves a little bit of church. And we're also going to get ourselves a market supply. So that means a little stall that is set up that's going to be supplying them with resources. So here we've got a food stall. So we've got ourselves berries and we've got ourselves bread. We've also got a firewood store, but there's nothing inside. And by having these as well as the clothing stall supply, we're going to be able to reach level 2. However, we won't be doing that in this video. In this video, we end here. I hope that you've enjoyed this first look at Manor Lords, and I'm confident that this game is going to be incredible. There is a huge amount of depth here, strategically, city building. It doesn't matter how you want to play it, whether you want to be cozy, whether you just want to chill out for hours on end building the perfect empire, or whether you want to get serious, hire up some mercenaries, build up a band of brothers, and take down the illegitimate Baron in the north. It's up to you how you want to play. But we'll leave it there, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please leave a like on the video. And of course, we'll catch you in the next one.